everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another Redmond Roundup. I feel like, do you know what, I don't even use this microphone while I'm doing these type of videos. I'm using my headphones, but I just feel like it looks a bit better when that's... You know what I mean? Like the optical illusion, I might start doing that going forward. Anyway, guys, in this episode, I want to touch on a couple of the topics that's around Liverpool Football Club, positive train at the moment with all these transfers coming in, and it turns out that not only have we signed two great players, we are going to be signing two more great players, but it's important to know where we are in the negotiation stages with both Lavia and Thuram, because guys, I said a few weeks ago Thuram is someone that we're definitely looking at. I also said, as of recently, Lavia is someone that we're definitely looking at because we're having these discussions. We're not these discussions where we're just looking at media stuff. It's about analysing who the credible sources are, seeing the pattern as the weeks have gone by, and then seeing the circumstances around it. So, for instance, Thuram, I mentioned this earlier, he's now no longer on international duty with France under-21s. He's back, he's available. I believe he's already got an agreement with the football club, but we need to make an agreement with Nice. Now, the Lavia situation is what I want to talk about here very briefly, because it's about knowing where the stage or what stage we are at in that transfer. Now, from what I know, according to Fabrizio Romano and other journalists, and say, you know, people call Fabrizio Romano the tap-in merchant, which is true, and he finds his information from other sources and people that he knows. And in this case, Liverpool, in my opinion, we're now preparing that bid with to make towards Southampton. So it's just about what bid will that be. How much do we want to leeway? Because we're probably going to end up spending about 45 to 50 million pounds on him anyway. But that doesn't mean that we're always going to go in with that negotiation, because that's not how negotiation processes work. So we're going to need to be a bit smart, strategic. Also, maximise that good relationship that we've got with Southampton, because I hear this debate about Thuram or Lavia. How about both? You know, someone made a great point in my comment section earlier. Liverpool let go of three crucial midfielders, Milner, Oxlade and Naby. I know you've just laughed at the last two, but think about what those players was or what they was supposed to be. James Milner, leader, multiple positions, versatile, always a 7 out of 10. That's huge. You need that when you're competing on all fronts. And now he's gone. Oxlade, Chamberlain and Naby, they were combined near enough £100 million. On that premise, you are expecting them to at least be first teamers, and they were never available. And apparently, in this age, your greatest ability is your availability, and that's the likes of Mo Salah who attest to that, you know what I mean? So, in this instance, if three big names come out, I'm expecting a good few more names to come in, because there's still uncertainties in the squad as well. I know that a large portion of the fan base still have uncertainties on Curtis, uncertainties on Harvey, but now that we're going with these more established names, it allows these younger kids to not only improve, but fight for their position. Are these young, hungry lions, or are they cubs that need to go elsewhere? I use that reference because I want young, hungry lions who want to become like the dads, who want to become like the big boys. I want them to be looking at... I want Harvey Elliott to be looking at any midfielder and thinking, I am on smoke. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like a kid who's on smoke, but in football terms, I would like him to look at Mohamed Salah and say, I'm going to overtake your position. Because that's the way it works. That's the hungry competitiveness in which we need. Yes, we need to be a team, but a player needs to also have his selfish ambitions. He needs to want to help the team and make everyone realise he is the difference maker. And that's why getting Szoboszlai, getting McAllister, not only are these guys great, you know, internationally for their teams, but they've also always been one of the top players in whatever team they play for. McAllister, when he was I believe it was Boca Juniors, and then he moved to Brighton. He's always been one of the star men. And then the same goes to Szoboszlai, and even on a bigger level, you know, best player at Hungary, best player at Salzburg. You could debate the best player at Leipzig as well. And here's the thing, you know. At first, I was thinking, whoa, Liverpool are getting all these things. But then I bring you back the analogy of, if I don't feed you for 10 days and then on the 11th day, I give you a Mackey's, you're going to be really so happy with the Mackey's that you're finally going to eat, that you're going to forget about the 10 days previous. And I think that's been the case with Liverpool. It's been one signing here, one signing there, but not necessarily what we need all at once. And think about it in this sense. We've bought 4 midfielders, which means we assumed Oxlade was going to come back next season, or Naby was going to be good last season. Making these calculated risks on players who haven't worked out after 2 or 3 years is what I think has sort of, you know, put us on a hold. I'm trying to find the best way to basically stop what could have been more success because of their lack of availability. So if you can increase the availability from what was supposed to be 2-star midfielders to now McAllister and Szoboszlai, and then go out and get Thuram and Lavia, who can push positions like Henderson, Fabinho and all these players, who were, let's be honest, they're already on the way out. Thiago won't be here beyond next season. I'd love him to stay this season, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll talk about that in a second, actually, the Thiago situation. But for now, he's still our player. In my opinion, Thiago's still our best midfielder if you can get him a run of games. And by the way, I don't even think it's close. But now with McAllister and Szoboszlai, now you've got that quality. And that's what I really want to see. And it's really good to see Liverpool going out there, getting Lavia. And again, to remind you, where we are in that negotiation, we still need to... Southampton know that we're interested. It's just about putting that first bid first, in there first. And then once that's done, we can start getting things done. But I have faith that we can actually get both. We might end up with one more, and that's still good. But we actually might end up with both. Now, although all these midfielders are coming in this summer, don't be expecting this to be a recurring theme over the next couple of years. I think we're getting all the players in now, so they can, and this is smart, we're getting all the players in now like Thuram and Lavia, so for when the Thiagos, Hendersons and Fabinhos and all these players go, you know, the likes of Curtis, Harvey and the ones that we're bringing in now, they're all going to be the rotational centre midfielders. And it's good to see, it's really encouraging. Curtis seems like he's getting better than all this, but the news that I want to talk about is Thiago. There was a big debacle, and I don't get this from Liverpool fans. I think it was Anfield Edition on Twitter, and I saw them, and he said Thiago has moved Liverpool out of his Instagram bio. First and foremost, I don't know why it matters, even if he did, because that's not the contract to say, oh, I play for this club. If you look at Alisson, if you look at Salah, they don't have Liverpool in their bio, so it means nothing. Also, I don't think it was ever in there. So people jump into conclusions like, oh, Thiago could be leaving. No, it's not productive, because yes, Saudi could come in, offer us £50 million, and then boom, we've got to let him go. As I am unsure that will happen, it could happen, it very well could happen, but as I am unsure, because Saudi are just buying whoever they want at the moment, they can just do whatever. If they want Thiago, they can get Thiago. If they want him next year when he's a free agent, they can get him next year when he's a free agent. But I think it's more important to keep Thiago. That quality is just something that you cannot buy. And I understand he's not available. But now that we have got players who are available, who's to say that quality hurts for the odd game here and there? He's an amazing player. Think about the quadruple chasing season. One of our best players. Think about the end of the season, of the COVID season, where Alisson scored a header. He was our best player in the remaining 8 to 9 games. This is what Thiago can do when he gets a consistent run. And because we know we can't get a consistent run, let's maximise him for the chances that we can use him. But, you know, with all these other midfielders who are going to surround him, plus Szoboszlai, Thiago and McAllister, just think of Thiago in the 6, just for the first half. Thiago in the 6, Szoboszlai and McAllister. Don't even say that doesn't make you dream beautiful things. But speaking of Saudi, as I believe that would be the only place Thiago goes. I mean, to be fair, Bayern Munich have even been saying, like, let's take Thiago back. Fuck you off. But no Saudi. We know that Bobby Firmino's gone there. We know Robbie Fowler has gone to the 2nd division. I also reported this news a while ago, but it turns out Steven Gerrard is now a manager of El Etihad. I think that's what they're called. A team there. And yeah, this is news that I thought was real, then fake, then real. Because I heard it off someone that was reliable, but then Steven Gerrard himself came out and said, I haven't entertained anything from Saudi. And then now he's a Saudi manager. So I wanted to take the actual source from the mouth of the man of Steven Gerrard and say he's not going to go to Saudi. Maybe that was just a rumour that just came out of nowhere. But then again, I remind you, my source, I trusted my source. So I was thinking, in 2 worlds. And then now he's the Saudi, I was about to say the Saudi Arabia manager. El Etihad, I think that's the team's name. Or El Etihad, I don't know. That team, I'll learn how to pronounce all those teams all in due course. That league's only going to keep growing from the sounds of it. But yeah, what do you think about this? Because everyone's been talking about, oh, Steven Gerrard is going to be our manager, replacement to Jurgen Klopp. I always said that was premature. It's always why I didn't like fully entertaining them conversations. Because when I sit there and say, I don't want Steven Gerrard to be my next manager, everyone will then interpret this as, oh, James doesn't like Steven Gerrard because, what, you don't trust Steven Gerrard? I love Steven Gerrard, and when I think of Liverpool, I think of Steven Gerrard. Did you know? I used to think England and Liverpool were the same team when I was a kid. Why? Because Steven Gerrard played for both. And my mum, she was a single mum, so she never, explained to me the logistics, you know what I mean? But once I came to about 6, I came to my realisations, oh, the different teams. And it turns out very different when you think about the national side of things. But anyway, Steven Gerrard is a huge figure in my lifetime. As a player, But just because he's a good footballer doesn't mean he'd be a good janitor, or doesn't mean he'd be a good, I don't know, bus driver. Probably be boss at those things, but it's a completely different thing to be a manager than be a footballer. So why are we using him or holding his footballing standards to a different standard? It's like expecting me to go into the Olympics tomorrow because I'm a semi-decent YouTuber, and even that could be generous. So I don't understand the premise of why saying Steven Gerrard should be a great manager just because he's Steven Gerrard. It doesn't make no sense. We've seen great players come and go who've done terrible as managers and should never be on a touchline again. Gary Neville being one of them. You know, plenty of other, you know, Jamie Carragher looks like one of those. I think that's why he's never entertained it. There's a different aspect to a managerial game, and, you know, for Steven Gerrard, he's worked under some good coaches, but the only thing I see this as a good thing is it gets him used to those big names. It gets him used to those big faces, because that's a league where they're recruiting more names, and in this case, he's probably going to get a big signing or two himself, bring a bit more attraction to not only the league, but the football club, and you know, depending on how he does, I think it'll be a productive experience, because again, it gets him used to those bigger name players, more experienced players, which I think he struggled to handle at Aston Villa. I think when he went to Rangers, it was less big names. They were more willing to listen. At Aston Villa, I think they just looked at Steven Gerrard like, oh, who's this ex-player, trying to believe he's a great manager, and it just didn't click. So a bit more experience can do him the world of good. Not that he can never be the Liverpool manager. I just thought it was very premature after the Rangers season, even though it was a great achievement. I just thought it was one of those things. So let's see how he does. I'm not slandering Gerrard. I don't think it's a bad choice. I mean, listen, go there, make a lot of money. I'm happy for him, you know what I mean? And I was never really on board with him being our manager anyway, because I want the best in class, and Steven Gerrard. The only time I'd want him as a Liverpool manager is if we, you know, Jurgen goes, someone comes in, they do crap, he gets sacked, Gerrard comes in as the interim. But to be a permanent manager, I don't know. I feel like you're just setting yourself up there with a very emotional decision with very minimum and low reward and outcome. So let me know what you think in the comments down below about the 3 topics we've talked about today. We gave you the Lavia bid update. We're still set to bid, but we're going to bid soon. And I believe that bid will probably be about 38 to 40 million pounds if I'm going to estimate. Thiago, is he going to leave this season or is he going to stay? And last and not least, what do you think about the Steven Gerrard stuff? Guys, smash a like on this Redman Roundup. At 6 p.m. UK time, we're going to be getting Arsenal fan Babs on the channel for a 20-minute, 30-minute discussion. And then we're going to go live at 10 p.m. UK time as well. Anyway, the mouse is kicking off because there's a mouse in my house at the moment. Guys, I'll see you in a bit. Peace.